Okay, so in isometric perspective, so we want to hold our paper landscape like we've got here, and you'll notice the lines are running like this. So we've got a 30 degree by 30 degree line, and with isometric, I want you guys to start off by drawing planes on the grid like this, and I want you to just follow the lines of the grid. Okay, so just draw a few planes following the lines of the grid, and I want you to pay attention to which direction. Sorry. There we go. I want you to pay attention to which direction these planes are facing. So, you know, like this one, you know, maybe that one is facing upwards like that. This one is facing this way, you know, and I just want you to, we're sort of just warming up here, like kind of just drawing planes, like, you know, which way are these things, are they facing? Okay, so we're kind of just very simply just drawing these planes, and I'm drawing mine 2 by 2, you know, and you guys can even put like little arrows here just to indicate, okay, that's kind of where that one is facing. Okay, then maybe we want to draw like 3 by 2, so we've got a rectangle here, you know, but like all the while, really the main thing is to just focus on which way these planes are facing. Okay. Okay, so once we've done like a few of these planes here that we've got on our paper, we then, so like I said, I want you guys to just focus on which way this plane is facing. So I like to just draw these like half round arrow sort of things, just to indicate like which way the plane is facing. I then want you guys to start building cubes, so 2 by 2 cubes. So from each dot, so from, you know, like 1, 2, 2 by 2, and I want you to stay on the grid and just start building the cubes in 3D. Okay, so just start building the cubes on this isometric grid, just to sort of get your head into what's happening here. Okay. Just draw a few cubes, you know, keep it 2 by 2 just to keep it really basic. And then when you start to feel more comfortable, you can do like sort of a 3 by 2 and then extend it out in depth by 1. So that's the most important part, is this part here, from here to here. Okay, so we're just focusing on creating depth. Okay, so, you know, we can do it, we can draw like a block like this. Yo, my hand is not in the not in the zone right now. Cheers, Maddie. Go well, bro.
Cheers, 17. Cheers.
Okay, so we just want to build, we're just building cubes like that. So we're going to do like 3 by 2, 2 by 3, but like I said, you know, still focusing on which direction each plane is facing. Okay. Okay, guys, moving swiftly along here. So I want you guys to start, yeah, so we're building geometry here, but I want you guys to start like sort of inventing your own sort of interesting geometry. So think of it, you know, like take kind of what I've taught you now, or what you're doing now, and see if you can kind of build, you know, like build interesting things. So for example, cutting the cube is really cool because you can, you know, so like we want to build a cube, and then maybe I want to make a ramp. So I can go from that corner to that corner, and I can join that line, that corner to that corner, join that line, you know, and then I can fill it in dark. so I can make a ramp like that. Okay. So another thing I want to just mention is like being able to control your pencil pressure. So, you know, like being able to press really dark, or there I'm pressing kind of lighter, there's even more light, and there you can basically can't see it. So, you know, if I want to do like a sketch, I can just press lightly, draw this cube very, very lightly here. And then, you know, if I want to draw another ramp, then I can press dark. So it's like I've got my sketch lines that are lighter, and then I can just fill them in like this. Okay. Cool. So you can start drawing some ramps, you know, with, like I said, with intention. So like sort of have an idea and then kind of see if you can build it. Okay, guys. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over now, we can just, so remember I was just showing you guys like controlling your pencil pressure like this. So, you know, if that's a 10, that's really dark. If that's an 8, it's lighter. It's 5, it's lighter. 2, it's lighter. So let's focus on projecting shadows of what we've drawn down onto the ground. Okay, ground, I mean like if this is going up in 3D space, then if my light, let's say my light is coming from here, how do I project that onto the ground? So in isometric, everything works 1-to-1. So for example, I'll show you guys later, but lighting in like the normal world, the lower the light, the longer the shadow is going to be. But all you need to know for isometric is if this here is 2 points up, that means it's going to be 2 points across as well. So a way to do that is to, I like to call it the pin technique. So if you draw a pin, you draw one line from here to here, that's 2 blocks. Let's say my light source is coming from there, and I want to project how this pin is going to cast light onto the ground. Okay, then I would just count 1, 2 from there to there, and that's basically going to be the shadow of that pin. If the light was coming from there, from this direction here, I would just go 1, 2, and I'm casting that light on the ground. So if you ever get confused of how to, you know, like, for example, this one would be kind of complicated to project down, we'll get into it, but that's kind of how we would work it out. And you always work it out from the ground level. Okay, so let's start projecting our shadow onto the ground from our cubes. So let's say my light's coming there, okay? So I want to make my shadow, like I want to make it really dark, let's say like an 8 there, okay? Let's make this side also somewhere close to an 8, you know, so that's really, really dark. Okay, and maybe this is like slightly lighter, so I can press a little bit lighter like that. And this is like basically no shading, okay? And then maybe in this one here, you know, my light source is coming from the front here. Okay, so that means that, remember, if my light source is coming from here, my shadow is going to project down that way. Okay, so my light source is coming from here, my shadow is not going to project that way. Does that make sense? So remember, if it's projecting that way and I'm 2 blocks up, then I'm going to go 1, 2, like that. 1, 2, 1, 2, and I can shade that in really, really dark. Okay. So it's just thinking about which faces are going to be facing the light and which faces are not. Okay. Let's do this one here. So you guys can just start projecting some of your cubes down on the ground. 1, 2, 3. So remember, whenever you get stuck, you can just use the pin technique that I showed you here, this one here. And I would recommend just keeping these sheets with you, like even when the course is over, don't throw them away, because let's say if you want to, you know, go back and work out like core basics of how to construct something, you know, then at least you have these notes with you. Okay. Okay, and then once we've kind of got that down, then I want you guys to take your more complex geometry, so the ones that are maybe a little bit, you know, like if it's an owl or something a little bit more complicated, and I want you to try and work out how to project this shape now down onto the ground. So like I said with the pin technique, you can always follow it with like a dotted line. I like to do it like that. And remember, so this is in the air here. And remember, you always want to measure it from the ground. So if this is my ground here, this is my ground floor, ground plane, I want to project this down onto the ground. So I'm basically, this is going to fold down like that. Okay, so if this is 1, how many points is up? 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 points up. That means I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 points across. Okay, and then I can darken that line. So this is basically being projected down like that. Okay, then we have 2 across, 1, 2 across. So that point there is like that. Okay, alternatively, we could have just worked this out from counting from the bottom. So you can't count 1 here, and you can't project the shadow there because the shadow is flat on the ground. So from the bottom point here, even though this is not touching the ground, we're counting from here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. How is it? Yeah.
Don't mind me.
Okay. Now we want to draw cylinders. Okay, so I've got an example here. There we go. So this is kind of the thing that we're going for. You know, looking at doing things like this. You know, and then I'm going to show you how to construct the perfect the perfect circle. Okay, so if you sort of find yourself in a position where you're drawing circles in perspective or in isometric and you don't know how to do it and you want to default to something, then this is how. Okay, so firstly, you can just watch what I'm doing, but basically when you're drawing a cylinder is you can do it 3 by 3. That's just going to be the best way to do it. We're constructing a cube like this, and then we're going to be building our cylinder inside that cube. Okay, you know, and then building it back. We also need to understand what the back of this cube is going to look like. Okay, so then the obvious question is like, well, how do I know this is correct? How do I know that circle is correct inside this box here? Okay, because it's easy to draw, you know, like a circle like this, but circles are hard to draw. Okay, so well, the way we do that is, let me show you how to do it flat and straight on. Okay, so this is where you'll need your ruler. You can just watch me first, but I'm gonna draw a square that is, let's go, that's way too big. Okay, let's go 4 by 4. So I'm gonna go 4 by 4 here. Okay, cool. So we're drawing that 4 by 4. Okay, okay, so the first thing is draw the square. Next thing is we're going to draw this. We're going to draw lines corner to corner. Okay, so we're making an X. Then that gives us the midpoint. So you did EGD, so you'll remember this. That gives us the direct middle of this square. Then from the middle, we can draw a perfectly horizontal perfectly vertical and then perfectly horizontal line. So then we've got the star inside. Okay, so at these points here, there, and there, that's where our circle is going to touch. Okay, so how we find out where our circle interacts with this line here is we want to take this line, divide it in half, okay, and then divide that half in half again, and then we can make a dot. Okay, so divide that line in half, and then in half again, divide this in half, then that in half again, divide this line in half, and then that in half again. And now we're basically just playing dot to dot, and we can just join these dots like this. Okay. And that's how you draw a perfect circle. So now, if we take that theory and we apply it to me doing a 3x3 cylinder, so we would take the same theory. So the first one is to draw the square, then we draw the X, okay? So you guys can do it with a ruler. So from corner to corner, you can draw that X in there, you can draw that X in there, okay? And because this is isometric, remember we're going to go straight up. And remember our horizontal line is going to be going with the 30-degree line here. So this is our 30-degree line. That's why we gave you the grid. So we can draw that going through there. And remember, we can make dots at the top here. So dot there, dot there, dot there. And these lines, remember the star, we can divide those in half and then in half again. So divide that in half and then in half again. Divide that in half and then in half again. Divide this line in half and then in half again. And then we can just join these dots like that. Okay, so I would encourage also what we need to do is we need to calculate it from the back as well. I would encourage you to do this really boring, tedious method, and then the reason why you do it is to be free of it. So it's like, this is the technique, do it, and then it's like your brain will remember it the next time you do it. So when I say your mind is in the grid, it means you do it now, like it's easy for you to do it freehand. So, it's important to remember, like, we can learn the rules to be free of them. So, but you gotta do it slowly first. So just literally do the exercise so that when you come back to your notes later, then you know how to do it. But we basically want to do that on the other side as well. So we've got a plane here. From that plane is the back plane, right? And this is the front plane. Okay, so we're doing an X there, doing our plus sign, okay? Then remember at the corners, that's where they touch. Then we're dividing this line in half, half again, dividing that in half again, half again. And then remember, because we're viewing from this angle here, we're not going to see the back of that, but we can put a dotted line of where it may be, where it is, and then just join our dots here and join that dot there. Okay, so I want you guys to just do that exercise, just draw it, just so that I know that you've done it, so that when you look back in however long, you're like, oh, I remember Josh teaching me that. Cool. Sarah, I will